Oh, man, it is a privilege to have heard your story, Shane, and thank you so much for sharing it on air. Shane, are you there?
Yeah, no worries at all. How are you going?
Oh, I'm going so well. And, we talk about family a lot here at 98.5 and family journey together. I feel like that's what we've been on with you. It's a big journey of your story. And I know some people, Shane, know your story, but there'll be a lot right now that don't. Do you mind recapping a bit of your story for us?
Yeah, sure. I was a pretty severe drug addict. Not to shock too much, but everything from heroin right through to an alcoholic. I lived on a street and it was just a life for me. It was a lot easier. I grew up in homes, kids' homes. And I never thought that, there was anything for me. And just quickly, I used to go to a church, a Lutheran church, to get food vouchers all the time. And whilst I was going there, the pastor said to me, why don't you come on to church? I went, whatever. I'm not going to church. Who needs that? But I said to him that I would, just to to calm the farm, as they say. And I stood in the back. There's more to the story, but I finally went there, and it was by a surprise that he turned up at a service station when I did, and I freaked out. And at any rate, I went to the church, and I stood right up the back. And every time I talk about this, I get very emotional because God spoke to me that day. Now, I wasn't a Christian. I wasn't involved with God. It was my food voucher and it was my go-to. And God spoke to me that day more than anything in the world. It filled my heart with the most beautiful feeling. And it was just saying that He was there, And from that day on, I couldn't wait to get to church. I couldn't wait to feel that feeling. And then I moved to Western Australia, and I just thought, you know what? I'm going to be alone for a little while, and look, and this is how miracles happen. And I promise you, to the listeners, every day, look for it. It's there. God's speaking to you all the time, but you've just got to open up just a tiny bit. Please just open up your heart. You'll feel it. And when I was in Western Australia, I turned on the radio and I was flicking through and it stopped on 98.5. And Jazeel, you were one of those people on there, and my God, I melted into the seat because it was everything that I wanted. It was a conduit. You guys are angels speaking through God, and it's just the most beautiful feeling. And for me and to the family, wow, Hope for Life is the most beautiful feeling in the world, and you guys drive that like there's no tomorrow. And I task anyone, just a little bit more, just even if it's $5, please give, because this radio station's been around for 30 plus years, and we want them forever and more. So that's my story, guys.
Shane, thank you so much for sharing that, and even hearing you retell it. It's obviously huge for you because it's your life, and I could hear the tears starting to come as you were telling that story, and that's how it's a true story. You've lived it. So thank you so much for sharing that story with us.
No worries, guys, and thank you for being those angels that speak for God and just to drive that beautiful message every day. You're opening many hearts with God's love.
Shane, just quickly, thank you so much for all of that. Where are you at now? Because a lot of people will be thinking, wow, that's your past. Where are you now, Shane? How are you going?
So, I'm going great. You know what? Look, I look up, and every morning I wake up, I just thank God. I seriously do. And as much as that sounds like just talk or whatever, I start my day with a phone call to God. Wow. Just to say thank you. You know what I mean? And for the rest of the day, He drives my day. I'm in an industry where it's hijacker, hard men, And you know what? That challenge is a beautiful challenge because, and I do. I have God driving me every single day, and if I can hear a little bit of you and all the more of Him, yeah, well, it's it's just a beautiful feeling. And you know what? Like I said, just open up your heart. You've only got to open it up a little bit, and once He's got His toes through that door, you know what? You're overwhelmed by the most beautiful feeling in the world.
I couldn't agree more, Shane. I could not agree more. Thank you so much for sharing your story. We honestly do appreciate it. And hopefully we can catch up with you again soon, Shane. Thank you so much. Family, right now you can create more stories just like Shane's. I mean, it was a pivotal moment for him. He was listening to 98.5. Let's create more of those stories, more of those hope stories. We can only do it with your help. Give us a call on 9313 0985 or online 98five.com.